something every 2 weeks. And so I got used to making sure I came up with something, right? But it wasn't always good. Sometimes I wouldn't like it. What I also learned was that sometimes the simpler pieces I wrote that I wasn't too impressed with, people like those. And that ended up being something I learned because people like your weak shit a lot. You know what I mean? They like your weak shit. It's true. You know? Things are like even like whether it's verses or whether it's essays and stuff, people be like, and I'm like, yeah, that's the weak shit I wrote. I wrote that, just I didn't get too much time to put that together. But what I would say about writer's block is it's based on two things, right? It's based on when we write a lot, the immediate knowledge that we storehouse of knowledge gets exhausted, right? And so one thing you must do is you always have to be reading. Okay? If you want to write about a lot of different things, then you read a lot of different things. You know what I mean? You want to write about music, you read a lot of music, you listen to a lot of music. When it comes to that aspect, though, never have fear of overloading. You know what I mean? If you feel like you're overloading, it's because you have to go write, or you have to write about what you learned. There's two different types of writing. Whether you're creating the writing or you're just writing about what you learned. Most of my journals are not just personal experiences, but most of my journals are basically writing about all the books I read. Okay, because I read at least 52 books a year, at least. Okay, since the year 2004, I have not failed in that. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of books. And let's say I think I've been doing this where I've really been counting it since what was it? September of 2023, I think, or October. I said I'm going to read at least 300 pages a week. You know what I mean? I haven't failed in that. But it causes a lot of overload. So I'm like, that overload for me is like, it's time to write something. It's time to write. But I also have journal amounts that I have to write, like the amount of journal pages, though. Time that I write other things. You know what I mean? And with writer's block, a lot of times, because people think like what I'm writing has to be what is immediately shared. That's not how the best way to write. You know, when I write a whole bunch of stuff, and not all of it has to go out. Just the best part. You know what I mean? So maybe the world is seeing like maybe I don't know 15% of what I've written. That's a so there'd be a lot to it. But it's not really a amount. You know, it's probably less. You know. So I'll be writing a journal. Let's say I write 10 pages in a journal. Do these squiggly lines on the side margins. If it was like, oh, that's some good shit right there. You know what I mean? And I use that. It could be. It doesn't have to be for a verse or not. It could be for like an essay. Oh, that's an idea for a piece or this that. All of that counts. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is just it's good. It's there. It's what it is. But that was the piece. You know what I mean? So these are the things. Like the writer's block is something not to be in fear of. It just means you need to learn more, experience more, or also stop inhibiting the way that you're writing, which is the other aspect. When we inhibit the way that we write, you know. I used to Sean P. Man, every time I used to talk to him, he used to always talk about tell the kids to do free journal writing. You know what I mean? And he used to do that. Like he used to just open up a page and just write whatever comes to his head. You know. So that, like I forget what song it was, but that whole verse Botswana where he starts Botswana. That was he used to always start doing that verse with me because that was the verse that he just was writing free. You know. But one thing is don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of your mind. Your mind could take loads of shit. You know, like do things. I used to do things like when I was in my 20s. I used to say, listen, it's a weekend here. I'm gonna read for 24 hours. I would do crazy shit like that. You know what I mean? And the eating would get in the way, so I wouldn't eat though. I'm gonna fast. I'm just gonna read for 24 hours, right? Just take breaks for. Don't take a break for the bathroom. You can go in there and read, right? Just take breaks to go get something, more things to drink, you know. But I would do things, and of course, the next day, like the dip in pages read declined dramatically, right? Of course, by the time I made it to the next morning, right? I'm up at 3 a.m. I'm up at 3 a.m. Oh, it's getting cold. I gotta get more stuff to buy because you're getting cold, you're losing your skills, right? But I said I gotta do it. I gotta do it because then I gotta do it, start all over again, right? And I just did it to test myself. I had a huge headache, all that kind of shit. But in that day, I remember that day I read about 130 pages, right? Now, today I could read 100, let's say it was 130 pages in about 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
3-4 hours, right? So, if I have no interruptions and I'm doing stuff, you know what I mean? Right? Different things, you know what I mean? See what you're learning, when you're dealing with your reading. What are you reading though? You're reading science, history, right? We got science, history, creative works, philosophical works that are creative, right? Like the Tao Te Ching, right? Aphorisms, right?
Comic books,
Right? Comics are okay too, you know what I mean? I read comic books regularly, but I do a thing. I started reading comic books intensely to get my daughter to read, my youngest, because I go to the library and I already have books. All my books are digital. I don't pay for almost anything, and I very rarely need books from the library. So I was like, let me just get comic books because you can't read them on the phone.
Yeah.
They're really hard. They're not as enjoyable to read on the phone. So those give you a lot of insight too because of the stories, right? I'm with that too, But you always got to diversify everything. You know what I'm saying? Remember, like you say, you told me your name is King Kwali, right? It's King Kwali, right?
Yes.
You're the true living God. What's your physical degree?
Understand wisdom.
Understanding wisdom, right? You go out there, you say you got people gonna expect you to either be able to fly or know a lot of shit. It's one of those. Walk through walls, fly, or know a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And the truth is that the last one is the only one that shows and proves that you're the true and living God. That you know a lot of shit. And know a lot of shit that is worthwhile and beneficial to you, first and foremost, and to all humanity if you decide to share it. Right? And so that's important though. You know what I mean? That you know about things. Like for example, right? Like wearing clothes here, right? Do we know how clothes are made? Like different stitches, different things, right? Just things that we deal with, right? You know what I mean? Do we know how certain things are made, right? Get lost in that program, how it's made. You know that program, how it's made? They got a program, how it's made. They're all on. I think it's on.
Netflix, I think.
I think they used to be on Netflix. I think it's on Max now. HBO Max. But they just show you like how they make certain things. But I'm just saying, a lot of things that we're engaged with, we don't know how it's done. You know what I mean? Little things, right? Doorknob. Doorknob was invented by original man, original black man. Right? Black Americans invented most of the shit that we're in here that's useful. Twist off the bottle cap, it was black man, America. Right? The guitar, black man, America. Right? Toilet, elevator, escalator, lights, right? We know lights, Lewis Latimer, right? Traffic lights. Take out all the shit. Take out all the shit. Take away the bottle cap, though. We'll be holding shit in the fucking bucket. You know what I mean? Right? So it's a lot of things, man. A lot of things, So it's like little things that we don't know. There's so much we don't know, so much to explore, right? We deal with father of civilization, so we should be studying history, right? We should go and rewind, right? What's your immediate ethnicity, guy?
My immediate
Ethnicity, where you from? Are you black American or you?
Well, I'm adopted, so that knowledge is kind of heavy for me. I just know I was raised American. My family from Jamaica.
Okay, right? So there's a whole history of Jamaica, right? The whole history of the music, right? One of the newest countries to actually record music, really, if you think about it. Because they weren't recording music until like regularly till like the 50s, right? And then from there, how much things they shoot off? Wow, it's amazing.
I like to say, is this crazy when I said I used to have a Jamaican? Does that make sense? No, it's not crazy.
Yeah, there's a whole band called the Jamaicans.
Born Jamaican.
Born. Yeah.
But I say this though, right? Yeah, you remember that, right? Yeah. But the thing is though, is that we have to expand to all histories, right? Now we're the original man, right? But it's not just Jamaica. You got this knowledge here in New York. You got to know detailed history of New York City, Black American history, all of that. You got to know that like tip-top shape, right? Where the father came from, right? Virginia, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got to know New York history. Then you got to go all the way back. right? Then you got to go back to all these countries. We gotta know all the world. We're not God of New York. You know what I'm saying? God of the whole universe. You know what I mean? You should know all that stuff, right? Extend your palate. I have a plus lesson. I wrote about, I call it the justice curriculum. 10 different subjects you should delve into, right? I go in that some other day, right? But the whole point is that our palate always needs to be extended. You have to keep opening your palate, knowing about things you're not crazy about either, though, when you master things that you do well. You know what I mean? Even like, look, the guy does music, DJ. Maybe he'll never DJ for certain type of genres he don't mess with. But I guarantee you that the God is going to dive into all of them and see what they sound like. It's just to extend the palate. You got to keep extending the palate. Let's say you don't like country. I like country, though, except white men singing country. I like women singing country. It sounds like they're about to lynch me when the white man sings. And I still have issues with that. Johnny Cash, but no, not too many other guys, right? It does. It sounds like they're about to lynch me, you know what I mean? But let's say I don't like country at all. It still helps to listen to country, because let's say if you like blues and then you like a lot of rock because rock is from the blues, the country's also from the blues. And the major instruments of country are African instruments, right? The banjo is an African instrument, right? So now you've extended your palate, and you could see, if you could break down things, say, I like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. In general, I don't like it, but I like parts now. Your palate is changing, it's opening different things, which means you could see things. When we deal with 120, though, that's what we're doing. We're seeing certain things, we're breaking them apart. We're seeing particular degrees broken apart in there, right? And it's applied to that to help us see it differently. We have to constantly see the pieces and then the outside totality of things. You see? And a lot of times for that, though, you have to extend your palate, though. You know what I mean? Brothers be like, no, I don't really study politics and shit like that. Well, politics is studying you. You know what I mean?
It's made me think, like, I'm a barber, and I've been going through a lot of things with my clippers. I've been with something going off the break. I was about to go in, and deep down, I be feeling like, damn, I wish I could fix this. You understand? And I know I could, but like sometimes it be videos that I know I can watch. I'll start watching it, and then I'm like, man, this shit ain't whack, and I'll stop watching it. But I feel like that's what you're saying. Like,
right. But remember, YouTube is not the only place to be learning. You know what I mean? And remember, there are things you could learn on YouTube that shouldn't be the only learning. They should be people. A lot of YouTube is really to get yourself in the door. You know what I'm saying? Like some people be like, yeah, I watched some kung fu videos in YouTube, and I know stuff. I will fuck you up right now. See what you know. You know what I mean? No, you got to get hurt up. You got to see things. You got to feel things. You know what I mean? That's like, I saw some DJ tutorial online shit. I'm going to go do what you do, guy. I'm going to go up there and start cutting up shit. Nah. You put your hand on that, you won't even make a sound on it the right way. Right? You got to know what you're doing. You got to practice. You got to be under the study. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, God, a lot of stuff needs literature, actual books. I don't care who it is I'm dealing with. I don't care what your profession is. If you're saying you're the true and living God, then reading books has to be something that you put into the concept of your reality, into your daily reality. And then now, if we go even further, dealing with me. If you know me already, then you can't tell me that you don't have books. You know what I mean? Can't. You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you to download free apps, Google Play Books, and you will have access to a lot of books. Any subject that you need. You know what I mean? But we have to be learned this way. We have to expand this way. Right?
People got also recognize like how they
Peace
learn,
to the God.
You know what I
mean?
Come
on.
Or like
my brother.
They learning abilities, or you know what I mean? I think because we came up, you know what I mean, you understanding wisdom, I'm understanding build to destroy. So it's like we kind of came up in the early internet, and MySpace and then Twitter and then you know what I mean. So we got caught up in that hyper fast paced online shit, images, and that does something to the brain and how we process information and shit. So now we kind of gotta slow it down. So one thing I found in reading books and getting back to like physically reading a book, it kind of gets you to get your focus back because we got so caught up on screens and all that shit growing up in front of TV and games, PlayStations and all that shit to the phones and all that. I personally think it's done something to our psychology and how we process information and our attention span. So when you were saying like, yeah, I was watching a video on YouTube how to fix this shit, but then you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this shit is whack. So pretty much you couldn't stay focused on it. It's pretty much what you're saying. Like you was watching it, the shit was gonna teach you how to, but you couldn't even focus on it long enough to get to the part where they taught you how to fix the clip. You know what I mean? And that video probably was like a 15-minute video. It wasn't even that long. You know what I mean? But that just shows that where we at mentally and how we process information is kind of fucked up now because of all the overconsumption and all the shit that's in front of us because of streaming. You know what I mean? So reading and certain shit like that kind of help you get back to like a normal pace of how your mind is supposed to be working and shit. You know what I mean? And like getting your focus back. So you know that's one reason why I've been getting back into reading.
You know what's interesting, right?
Of it. So.
I'm gonna be harsh with you, guy, right? You're 32, right? When did you get into this, right? When you was wisdom what? Wisdom Builders Struggle. Okay. Who you got knowledge from? Do you have 120?
Not the whole one. And I could be studying better.
Okay.
I'm still on like the first level.
No, don't excuse yourself. I'm not gonna take you no thing about that. I just want to know those basic facts. What I'm saying is this, right? With the elders that I grew with, right? Many of them passed away, right? You'll be super old to get this knowledge. You know, right? Because you said 28. I got knowledge at right at it was like 23. Right? A lot of the gods. I remember Firstborn Prince mentioning that I'm old, but almost no one really harped on it with me because it came immediately to give things immediately. They didn't have to tell me to not eat pork. They didn't have to tell me anything. You know what I mean? I was already doing that. I was already vegan for years before I got knowledge. Right? So I got knowledge in 99. I was vegan since 96. They didn't have to tell me to get rid of pork. I was already years without that. Right? So what I'm saying is this, like, you say you're a barber, right? Your name is King Kweli, right? In this reality of you being God, right? What is the necessity of you being God? Is there a necessity? I mean, you don't need to be God to be a barber. That's right. You don't need to have a knowledge of self and know that you're the true and living God, but any type of facts or figures or anything to just cut some hair really good, right? So in the reality of King Kweli, why are you king, right? How are you being the true and living God outside? I'm not saying you're not. I'm asking you to show you something, right? And to show you, like, this is a tough question, right? But I take you to different ciphers, though. You'd be asked the question a lot more mean, right? I'm asking you the question as like a building block. We're actually thinking like, listen, I'm the true and living God. So I do these things, right? But there must be more to it. So in this case, right? And I'm, like I said, I'm being harsh, right? But let's say all I know is that you're a barber. I don't know nothing else. I don't know if you're doing any community work. I don't know if you're teaching students. I don't know if you're doing nothing. But you're the true and living God. And the only thing that you're saying is that you're a barber and you're a very good one. Well, now you should be the greatest, most supreme barber in the universe. That's what knowledge means, my enlightenment used to tell me. That's all you're doing? You should be the greatest that ever was with this. So you should be scouring them. You should be scouring to see if there's books about this, books about that. Studying other ways that people do stuff. Be the best at this. You understand what I'm saying? Be the most high, greatest at this. You know? Right? You should be at this, on some level. Not saying you should, but like, yo, I'm gonna be able to do the lineup left-handed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to do the lineup left-handed on this guy, This guy's gonna get married tomorrow. I'm gonna do his lineup left-handed. Like, yo, pressure. Like, this is how good you are, right? Like all this kind of stuff. Like, what we're the true and living gods. What are we doing? And then what do we do to endeavor in everything to the greatest of our ability? This is something me and the God, Infinite Mind, we both martial artists, right? We love watching Last Samurai, right? That movie, Tom Cruise and everything, right? And there's a thing when he's in the village with the Japanese samurai village, right? They got a thing where he writes his journal notes because he has like a journal and he wrote about like the devilish men he had because he's traumatized because he had to do devilish men and kill Indians and shit. And now he's just like fuck all things because he's like he feels he's ruined his whole life because he did that. He couldn't stop it. You know what I mean? But it's a great movie, by the way. It's a great movie though. Tom Cruise, like he's good 5% material in it. You know what I mean? But because he was like Azrael in it. He was like Azrael in the, yeah, he's Azrael, But he's writing down what they do, right? And he says that the people in this village shows people doing archery, samurai stuff, right? People tilling the soil, all that, everything. He says the people's main focus, everyone in this village, is that they endeavor to do everything that they engage in to the greatest of their ability at any and all times. What's it we say, man? Right? Give all I have and all within my power to see this day for which I have what? Waited. I hate that, right? But to give all that I have and all of my power, right? God, in every endeavor that you're doing, you're giving it all, man. Right? You put everything in it, God. I don't work out unless I give everything in it. You know what I mean? Everything. If I go right though, I write until the shit is done and give a headache to myself, whatever it is. I say, listen, boom, go all out. Do everything to the best. You know what I mean? Because there's other things that you don't want to do it half-assed, right? You with a fine woman though, you don't just make love lazy. You're just trying to get this over with. You know what I mean? No, you do everything to the best of your ability. Everything. Because you're the true what? True and living God. You know what I mean? So now you think to yourself, wait a minute. Are you dissuaded, let's say, by the Clippers videos because they're not good enough? Or is the task not important enough? It's not really that important. Like, I can invest in better Clippers, and having fresh Clippers is a good thing, right? I don't need to be repairing this. It's a waste of my time when I could be studying something else. It depends what is the reason. So it's not really the thing that is important, right? But being a true and living God is realizing that everything you do, right, is a creation in this universe that has monumental impact. Everyone is making things. The white man is making his own life. He's impacting this creation. But when we have a knowledge of self, that means that we're tapped in completely. That means that we have to reach a level of understanding where we know that every single thing that we do can have a monumental impact. Okay? Everything. God, I have written things and spent time writing things that have affected people on other continents, other states I've never met. You know what I mean? Shared things in such a way, whether here or other places that affected people. What if I came and I was lazy and said things slightly incorrect? You know what I mean? The lessons are near correct, not us. You know what I'm saying? The lessons are near correct. And what I mean is that doesn't mean we're right every time. What it means is that we do everything to the utmost ability. You know what I'm saying? God, God knows when I went out there, I got my L's, and I wear the shit head to toe. I make sure the shit matches. You have to spend a little time. Make sure the shit is right and exact. No, they didn't put me in this shit so I could just look stupid. I respect it. I try to make everything right and exact. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, this shirt don't really, nah, it gotta match. It gotta match. You know what I mean? Right and exact, because these are the brothers that I'm building with, right? So everything you go up most, you know what I mean? One time my sister was like, we went out to just go to a place and everything, like just overnight in a hotel and stuff. And then she was like, "Oh, I gotta be everything like this." And I had the polo duffel bag. And the polo duffel bag stripes match my sweater. And I was like, why can't I do things right and exact? You know what I mean?
You just do it right. You gotta be right.
And exact. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy doing it right and exact. I was just telling the guy, all this decade I've been writing, one of my books I've been writing is a series, is a book series, The Real of each year, right? So from 20 to 24. The Real of 2024, I'm writing detailed reviews of every quality album that I get hands on, hip hop. Because I'm a hip hop journalist, been since 94, right? And I could have released it where I make the most money in January, but I would have had the speed right, a lot of them, and not really give them the listens and detail writing it. And I said, nah, let it be a historical record instead, the book. Because that's what it's really gonna be, right? So let me spend time a little extra writing it and release it a little bit later. So it'll be the 600 pages it usually is, right? Because I care about doing things right and exact. You know what I mean? People won't look back and say, whew, his career was good because, he was able to release everything on time and everything. Nobody's going to give a fuck about that. They're going to look back at those books. It's not going to say when it was released. It's going to have a year. It's not going to say when it's released. It's going to say, he put real detail in this, and it's an archive record of detail. So I went with what is right and exact, thinking about it. Instead of trying to rush, maybe I make some extra bucks. But fuck it. You know what I'm saying? We never did hip hop like that anyway, right? Wasn't doing this shit like that. Find the things that you do. If you're doing that, if you're doing the barber thing, it's not just, and everything, not just that. But if you're doing that, not just to get paid, but you really love the thing, keep to the craft. Be the greatest, most high with everything you do. You know what I mean? Everything. I play with my daughters and everything, right? When I play with them with their dolls and everything, I go all out, God. I go all out. She give me the man doll, I do the boy, and I'm like all in. I'm like, oh, let's just play until, the game is on and stuff. You know what I mean? Nah, I go all out. I'm in it. It's something that Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the great Buddhist philosophers, of the modern era, because he passed away like just a few years ago, actually. And he really detailed a lot of the explanations of this Buddhist concept of mindfulness. And he used to have things he would do with his peoples that would come to his place to learn and everything. And he would do stuff like mindfulness eating, mindfulness walking. Like they're walking, right? And they have to feel every step. Like feel how the heel, the sole, the toes, the ball of the feet, everything. You eat that food, feel everything. You know what I mean? A lot of times I do that shit. Like when I break the fast, like mindfulness eating. Like, yo, how does this, that Brazil nut taste like? You know what I mean? The first beans, you know what I mean? Like everything, I'm tasting everything. I'm feeling everything, right? Mindful into everything. Do everything with your whole vigor, your whole life, because you actually are the one that is giving life. The way that you give life, the way that you live life is how others will receive life. You gotta understand that. My name isn't Sunez because I'm like, the sun is cool, and that's the man. The gods wasn't playing with like just going, yeah, we're in the sun and the girl is the moon and it just looks nice. And they really thought about this. Like, yes, the father would build with the firstborns and all of them for for months and days, just back and forth about shit. Why is knowledge first? But why? Why can't wisdom be first? They really think about these things and go back and forth, right? They put everything that they have into this because they know when they go out there and they share it, it will impact people. That's what the gods, when they said, Sunez, I had to spend time with all the elders that were alive. Everyone that ever taught here that was alive, I built with them. That means even like, you see Darkim, right? I built with him, and I used to roll with him all the time, preparing. That's one of my preparations. We used to go to Bronx Telnet, one of the businesses they have, internet business they had, right? We used to all over P.E.A.C.E, and we come back here. Then I would teach. I would start teaching. Darkim would just sit there, never interrupt. When I'm finished and the students start to leave, you take me aside. So, did this good? Did we have? Then there was one day it was like, yeah, it's good. He didn't say nothing. So, okay. It's good. I'm okay. You know what I mean? And that happened with a lot of elders. Right? But they was teaching me, the main thing was, make sure everything you say is right and exact, because someone, not just representing the nation, saying they teach this there, not just PR, but kids will live out what you told them. What do? We teach civilization, righteousness, knowledge of self, and the science of everything in life. But first we teach civilization. We uncover and unmask what this reality really is. Then we teach them righteousness, ways of living, right? They're not God yet. They're not able to be that yet. We tell them, listen, don't eat the pork though. What do I eat? Because I used to get that question all the time with young 85 kids. What do I eat? And I remember I had one Puerto Rican kid. He was like, I understand everything. It's like after like 3 hours. I understand everything though, but yo. I said, what happened? That pork thing is going to be tough, because what? Because my family's. I said, man, you just want to eat that shit. Fucking punk in my head. Punk. I built all this stuff, all the things that we do, all the great things that we can do, how powerful we are. So you get a slice of bacon? So you get something salty? You know what I'm saying? And the reason I didn't say anything was because we don't need you though. You know? If you're on the fence, like, I don't know if we need a sausage. Right?
Cutting out pork is the easiest part to me, dog.
We don't need you if you're having trouble about eating something. We're in New York City though. You can eat all types of shit. Right. You know how many things you can eat in New York City? The diversity of foods in the hood, in a food desert of the hood, is more diverse than some of the third world countries out there.
That's a fact.
I didn't say it was healthy all, but it's more diverse than some third world countries. Even third world countries that eat healthy, right? Not like us eating no bullshit. They don't have like lots of different things that they eat. You know? They don't. You know? Indigenous people that work in the land, all that, they don't eat their crops because they have to feed themselves. They have to sell the crop. They're just mainly eating corn. And it's millions of variations of things you can do with it. You know? So what I'm saying is like, everything that you do everything to the fullest ability. And if you don't have that drive, do not say that is your fucking character. That's the biggest mistake people make. That when they don't have drive to do things, that's just the way I am. No. Consider it an outside force. And find the outside force. Right? That's the mystery you go out there looking for. What is the outside force that's making? Because this is not me. Like, man, I tell you, I read, right? How much I read? For a long time. Reading was a big struggle. There was some years where I was just like making 52 books a year by just reading the shortest pieces of shit books I could get my hand up. I'm like, it's December and I only got 45. They don't like 45, 50. That's a lot when you don't really read like that, when you're done fast. And I'm like, damn, I got like 8 books left? Are you fucking kidding me? How am I going to make this shit? There was one year where everybody's like, oh, they're all Happy New Year shit. Motherfucker, I'm in the corner there reading. Fuck you, New Year. I'm fucking not getting there until yeah. And I was reading and I was like, yo, stop with the bullshit. I'm making this thing and then we'll do the New Year's shit. You know what I mean?
I know you feel good.
He was locked in.
Because
Super locked in.
I've always been like this though. I gotta make my goals. I gotta put my heart into it. You know what I'm saying? I had my daughter on for a week last week. The whole week I had her and shit like that. And I told her, right? I sat her down. It was like Thursday. I said, I gotta do some of these things. I gotta read these 300. I gotta train every day, right? So I wake up before everybody's awake and train, right? Every moment that somebody's not doing shit, my daughter was playing one of these. I was behind, right? I'm just telling you how I take time and use all my time. My daughter was playing with her cousin, right? Every moment that she played with her cousin, we ate meals, we watched some things, we played a little bit too. But every moment she played with her cousin, I went and read. By the end of that night, I said, Amma, using your time wisely is important. Every moment that you was playing with your cousin, I read 123 pages. You know what I mean? I made sure because it was late in the week and I didn't make it. I read the easier book, right? I read some novels that I was reading, right? Crazy novel too. This shit was wild though. What was it? Charles Bukowski's Women. Savage book. Savage. Savage. But I never read. I collected all of his books. A lot of his books. I don't know if I have all of them. I have like 20 of them. But I'm gonna check that one out. Okay? He's a savage. But peace. But the whole thing is that I didn't let anything get in the way, and I also didn't treat people like they were getting in my way, right? Because you can't talk. I'm not gonna talk to my daughter and tell her, "Yo, you're getting in the way of me doing things." Right. That's the last thing I would ever tell her, right? Because she's the priority. But the thing is, though, is that I never stopped to be fully engaged and involved in everything that I was dealing with. Everything. You know what I'm saying? And still, at the end of that week, I had to bring her back to her mother and immediately go to do a show, an interview show, right? Classic Storm. Then I had to go be on a panel, a panel moderator. So I had to basically interview 4 women. You know what I mean? And I did all that preparation while I was playing and all the other, every gap that I had, I just did work. You know what I mean? Then when she came, she would go, "Oh, hey, I want to do something. Yeah, let's do something." You know what I mean? Never complain. Focus, God. Focus and realizing that we have to be involved every single moment, though. Make yourself strong, though. Be able to say, "Listen, I can turn this off." I always tell people, they know. Everybody that be doing the knowledge. My brother is an actor, my twin brother. He collects mad movies. His collection is like 2,000-3,000 movies. And he gave me access to it. So I go on his Apple and I can access all the movies. Every movie that he could put into the iTunes. So it's like maybe like 50 or something that I can't access. Yeah. So it's like 3,000 movies that I've got access to. So I got all the apps. Netflix, everything. Max, Peacock. I have fucking Peacock. I have Peacock. We got the free joints, Pluto, Tubi, right? We got Tubi, right? All these movies he has. Apple TV, all this shit. And yet, and the Mets started now. See, I'm a Mets fan, so I'm not going to be, you know what I mean? So many times I'm watching something and I take it off right in the middle. The fucking climax of the show is coming. I'll be like, I'll take it off. Nah, I need to go do this. Right. You know what I mean? I do it on purpose. I'm like, yo, I have something to work toward to. I'm about to say climax later. That whole shit, binging shit, cut that shit off. You know what I mean? Because if I respect my willpower, I disrespect everything else around me. You know what I mean? I disrespect everything else. I have full confidence in my willpower. I never said, like, I don't know if I could do it. None of that shit. It's just a matter of when I'm going to do it, though. If I fail, I'm like, nah, I'm going to get him now. I'm going to get him now. right? And so when I'm doing and engaging and I'm reading extra comics, right? Because I don't count that in my pages and shit, right? Watching more television though, which I find television film great. I don't find it negative because I'm picking quality things, right? It all adds on to the creativity, so I'm okay with it. But everything is measured though. Nothing is controlling me. You know what I mean? But the thing is that God, everything you do needs high levels of concentration. In a lot of the ancient texts, right? I always say this though. When you look through Buddhist ancient texts about Buddhism, so whether it be Zen from Japan, Zen Buddhism, or Chan Buddhism from China, or any of the Mahayana sects that are throughout Thailand and all these other places, their major writing is always about Maya. Not that fine singer, Maya. Not that fine vegan. What is he, vegan? Fine ass vegan. Maya means illusion. It means the distraction of the mind, the lack of focus of the mind. So all these secrets, but most of the Zen texts, they always go, the main thing is being lost in Maya. All this other stuff, they got lots of other jewels, but that was their main jewel. It gets repeated in almost all the ancient texts again and again and again.
That's my problem.
Yeah. The Zen koan, Koan, was invented to get you out of Maya. Some Zen Buddhists, they used to say, when someone is distracted in their meditation, we hit them on the head. Other times, they give them a koan. A koan was basically a short story, very short story, or saying that is so off the cuff, makes no sense. If you ever read the Blue Cliff Record, which is a collection of ancient koans, Zen koans, a lot of them, they're fun to read because some of them don't make no damn sense. No damn sense. Because they're designed to say, wake up. Because in Buddhism, though, right? You got through the 1 to 10? You got through 1 to 10? In the 10th degree, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that means that you ain't in it yet. You ain't in it yet. Don't tell people you got some 120. You tell them you're not in it. You ain't memorized it, then you don't know it. Okay? Right? So, in the 1 to 10, they named 2 other religions in the 10th degree, right? Christianity and Buddhism, right? Christianity is about looking outside of yourself. Buddhism is about looking inside to yourself. But in a lot of teachings of Zen and others, you could get lost inside the mind. Now remember that. How do you get lost meditating, right? These people are in a lotus position. They haven't meditated for days. And they won't take them into their sect until they can able to do that. In India, there's a lot of places where they don't, to be in the ashram, you've got to be able to meditate and be in that solitary position for like a day or something like that. A lot of people do stuff like this and they get lost in their own mind. You know? They even have a word, and every time I always forget the word because he documented this. Paramahansa Yogananda, that's his name. He's a yogi. In his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, he actually traveled throughout the world. That's what his master yogi told him to do. And he learned about philosophies about other peoples throughout the world. When he traveled through his own India, he traveled first before he left and went to other places. And he actually found groups of people that they had gone so far deep in the mind that they were dysfunctional. They couldn't, they were no good to decide. They have a word for it in India. I forget the word, which by the way is that's another book I could email you because I have that book. It's a great book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And the thing is that you could get lost in that. And that's why it's important though. With this knowledge of self, you could get lost with that too. The way we get lost mainly is we just deal with the title. It separates us from everyone else. But the point is not for us to be separated from anyone else. The point is to say, what of value do we have to share that is unique? It's different. What makes us unique and what we will share to the world. You see what I'm saying? You got to figure that out. This is the part of knowledge self. Okay? And so it entails lots of study. It entails lots of study. Right? That's all I'm saying about that. All right? I'm going to read through these quick. I see that, God. I see that, King. Yeah. Yes, see my brothers on here. All right. This particular Bukowski book I was reading is called Women. Savage book. It's a novel though. It's savage. It's kind of funny. But I'm reading another book that he wrote called Notes from a Dirty Old Man. It's kind of funny. It's good too, you know. But and again, look, I read so many history books, so many science books, so many philosophy books that the book I read the least and have the most difficulty in is actually novels, because it's stories that aren't true, and I don't give a fuck sometimes. Like I'll literally be reading, I'm like, I'm a little confused here, but I don't care. I'll read a history book though with detailed histories of individuals, and I keep, because it's real life, it's real to me.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. Like I read poetry books really good. I read other types of books really good, but a lot of novels I don't. So I work on it. You know what I mean? And I try to read lots of different novels. But in my novels, I start more novels that I haven't finished than any other type of book. You know what I mean? There's probably like 30 novels that I started. You know, sometimes they catch on and I go through them, but you know, again, always working to build greater. You know, but I'm gonna let everybody go here because I'm about to travel. You know what I mean? Yo, peace to the guy Rakim Shabazz. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a thing. And you know, the Indians have really documented them, and they used to always talk about how getting lost in that meditation is a real thing. You know, look, where you know, who searching for that mystery God for trillions of years, that's really the same concept in many ways. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna let everybody go here and say peace. Y'all know Sunez97@gmail. Malik, definitely build with me. There's so many things. I gotta get you those books, Malik. I haven't forgot about you. I just been really on a catch-up tip. And like I said, I have my daughter on vacation, but I gotta catch up and get you them books. Because I have some of them. And the other one, there's one of them I couldn't get. But peace to the God King me. Appreciate you, God. All right. Peace to everybody. Email me, Sunez97@gmail.com, and we'll build any books you need. Let me know. Peace.
Peace.
All right.